Welcome to the lower section of Courthouse Wash. So the first thing we're going to take a look here is called Sheep Rock. Notice it kind of looks like a sheep here. Now this used to stretch all the way to Baby Arch, or at least in theory, scientists think that used to be an arch all the way from the right Sheep Rock all the way to the next formation we're going to look at here. This is called Baby Arch. As we zoom in, some of the stuff that fell to form the arch. And of course, right next to it, we have the three gossips. Many of the locals here also refer to this as the Three Sisters. And an overall look. Now this is Sitting Cat Rock. It'll be more obvious when we get a different angle on it. And continuing on, there's Sheep Rock once again. And we look out here. I call this the Mini Goonie Bird Rock. If any of you guys ever make it out to Gemini Bridges, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see the big Goonie Bird Rock. We will also be covering the Gemini Bridges area in an upcoming video later this year. A few little areas still even have a bit of water. But as you can see, there's nothing swimming or moving around in here. Too many people walk here. Otherwise, you'd probably be seeing some kind of life here. You got oak leaves and rocks, sand. Enough organic matter that there would be life if people didn't crush it. Check out some of my other videos to see some of the cool, mysterious creatures that live in potholes. I call this thing the stuck head. Many people seem to think that this was actually caused by a falling rock. But if you notice on the bottom right corner, that's actually still attached by the rock. And this is the one I call Sitting Cat Rock. If you use your imagination a little bit, you'll see his curled tail, his head, and his body right here. And right here we have a cool little cave that tons and tons of people will never see. You'll walk right past it. So if you guys come out here, take a look at this formation here. This one. And of course, Sitting Cat Rock. When you get a triangle between all three, and you're standing right against the cliff with a white rock here, this big, long, white rock. Turn around, look up at the cliff face here, and you'll see this cool little cave. Now this little area here is very, very cool to see when there's water flowing through it. We'll definitely be taking another look at this area during a flooding event later this year. Assuming we get one anyway. Moab has been experiencing quite a bit of a drought, or at least last year, and honestly mostly into this year as well. We really don't have much of a snowpack. The water situation in Moab is just not good, guys. If you do come here, do your very best to conserve water. Take a shorter shower, whatever you can do. It all helps. And this is the other really, really cool thing to see. It's cool to see anytime, but if there's water here, it's just unbelievable. I call it the water hand. Looks kind of like a hand, and the water just does some truly funny things in this little pothole. And walking a little further past the water hand, take a look way out in the distance here. We see Mushroom Top Rock. Square Black Rock. The Torch. And finally, the Christmas present. You guys gotta look from a slightly different angle to see more of the bow. Gotta use your imagination a little bit with this one, but it's really cool to see all this stuff out here. And they're all very close together, is the cool thing about Courthouse Wash. Walking a little further still, not sure what I'd call this one, but nonetheless, it's pretty cool. Looks all jagged. Either the wind or the waves or the water did this. So for those who don't know, this whole area near Moab used to be underwater millions and millions of years ago. That's what left all these cool formations that you see, walk on, and enjoy today. And of course, Sitting Cat Rock from a different angle. And these trees here, they really don't look that big. But believe me guys, this tree right here in front of me, this tree is at least 100 years old, probably more. Trees grow ridiculously slowly here in the desert, but they live for a really, really long time. The other thing that's neat to see, stuff really doesn't rot here. Wood sticks around for years and years and years. I've seen 200-year-old pieces of wood built by some of the first pioneers that ever came out here. I mean, it looks weathered, granted, but it's still there. It's still structurally sound. And here's one of the little side washes. And now our next look is out here at what I call Lizard Rock. Looks sort of like a lizard sitting out on this rock here. A giant lizard anyway. Or if you guys have another idea of what other animal it could be, leave it in the comments below. But to me, it looks like a lizard. So we're going to go with that for now. So a little bit more about the trees out here. This is called a Utah juniper. They are very unique. They can live for thousands of years. But the truly special thing that these guys do is called self-pruning. So if you see this dead branch here, no one came out here, no one damaged this. I doubt an animal did it either. So during a time of drought, these trees will actually sacrifice a branch and cut off all the water supply and everything to it in order to keep the rest of the tree alive. They're truly unique, warped, and twisted. Some of the gnarliest trees you'll ever see out here. This is not even a good example of how twisted some of these trees can become. Now, junipers do have an edible berry. I would highly encourage you guys to try seasoning meat and some other stuff with it. But keep in mind, this is a national park. You cannot collect things from here. Make sure you guys go out to BLM. There's plenty of BLM land all around Moab. So if you take a look here, you can see the juniper berry. This one's pretty ripe. They turn blue when they're ripe. They're green when they're unripe. This is a different tree. Our bigger tree, unfortunately, doesn't have any on it at the moment. Of course, when they die, before they ripen, they turn yellow. That's your self-pruning in action right here. Probably within the past year, Moab's actually had been experiencing a pretty significant drought for quite a while. So it's not that surprising to see. These little lizards are pretty cool. They can actually change their color to camouflage themselves to their surroundings. Notice when we zoom in how close this guy looks to the color of the rocks here. And if you take a look here, I call this one Caterpillar Arch. Here's the arch right here. That is more than 3 feet. This is an official arch. May not be called Caterpillar Arch, but that's what I call it, and that's what it looks like. So this guy is called narrow-leaf yucca. And these little points are absolutely needle sharp. You don't want to accidentally run into one of these guys. The Native Americans actually used this as needle and thread. So all the cords in here, they would use it to make things like footwear, baskets, rugs, clothing. So if you're ever in an emergency situation and you really need some kind of cordage or needle and thread, this is one of your best friends. However, you really don't want to bump into one of these guys. You'll absolutely get, well, depends how hard you hit it, I suppose, but either way, it won't feel too good. A brief look from the LaSalle Mountains viewpoint. Not only is it a great view of the mountains, but this also offers a commanding view of many cool spots and arches. And dead ahead, we can see the Great Pyramid of Moab. And of course, the mountains out in the distance there. And we'll zoom in, and you can see the fat man here. Not only can you see him here and in many places in arches, you can actually see him in many different places all over Moab. It's a very cool formation. And we'll zoom in here a bit on the LaSalle Mountains. Very, very beautiful. As you can see in some of my previous videos, they are snow-capped at the moment. They're still very cold. As always, please like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend if you enjoyed it. and join me once again next Friday or Saturday here on Magical Moab.